Everton have sacked Rafa Benitez. The fans are turning on the board. Players are desperate to get out. There is now a threat of relegation from the top division. The first game under Duncan Ferguson was a failure. The team is loaded with aging players that have lost lots of value, and their top stars seem destined for other ventures. Everton must be fixed and transformed to a new type of club. They must invest in younger players, must trust a younger manager that can develop these young stars, and transform to a club similar to that as Dortmund. So here is how to fix Everton FC. Firstly, they must find their new manager. For me, the best choice for Everton manager is Frank Lampard, who has shown to have decent tactical knowledge and has developed young talent. If it wasn't for Lampard, would Mount, Reece James, and Tammy Abraham break out into the world scene, or would they still be in the loan farm system? He brought a team filled with youngsters and no transfer window to a top 4 finish, and he has shown talent in the man management side of the game as well. He is by far not a perfect manager, but as Everton manager, he would help steady the ship, improve morale, improve on-field performance, and bring solid attacking tactics that would have fans excited for his appointment. Now, what are these tactics? At Chelsea, he typically deployed a 4-3-3 system. His teams do not necessarily want to dominate possession of the ball, as they sometimes like to drop deep and play on quick counterattacks. They also like to mix that with a press to try to make the opposition make mistakes in possession. While his team is in possession, he wants them to build up slowly, looking for his midfield to find space to continue making open passing lanes. He also asks his fullbacks to run the wings with his inverted wingers cutting inside. However, he likes to deploy a taller center forward who plays on the opposing team's line that does not technically get too involved with the build-up play. When his team is in trouble in possession, he wants them to look for their tall center forward as he will act like a target man. For Chelsea, he used Tammy Abraham and Olivier Giroud for this. Next to them, he usually likes to deploy one of his inverted wingers as a pacey winger. He likes to make line-breaking runs. This pacey winger will play off the center forward to look to have interplay between them. For his Chelsea side, he deployed Timo Werner in the winger position as he likes to make line-breaking runs with his insane amount of pace. For his other inverted winger, he likes to have someone willing to drop deep to link the attack. For this position, he typically deployed Kai Havertz or Hakim Ziyech, and sometimes Mason Mount. For his midfield, he liked to play Conte in his defensive midfield position due to his ball-winning ability, and he would typically deploy Mason Mount in either Havertz or Kovacic ahead of him. He asked for his midfielders to push forward with his attack to help make line-breaking passes and look for runs behind the defense, causing overloads. He needed his center backs to be very good on the ball, so he liked having Thiago Silva and Antonio Rudiger in defense. For his fullbacks, he wants them to have an attacking threat, but also wants them to be sound in defense, so he had Reece James and Ben Chilwell. Based on Everton's current players and their first team squad, there are some players I see him wanting to keep around that would fit this system, that he would want to implement. These players would be Jordan Pickford, Vitaly Mykolenko, Ben Godfrey, Nathan Patterson, Doucouré, Demarai Gray, DCL, Richarlison, Jared Braithwaite, and Anthony Gordon. There are also players that I see him keeping that do not necessarily fit the system, but are needed for squad depth, including Mason Holgate, Seamus Coleman, and Tom Davies. Any other players with value and who do not fit the squad should be sold this summer. These players and sale prices in pounds include Michael Keane for $15 million, Yerry Mina for $15 million, John Joe Kenny for free, Allen for $10 million, Gabadman for $10 million, Fabian Delph for free, St. Towson for free, Alex Iwobi for $15 million, Andres Townsend for $5 million, and Andre Gomez for $15 million. This would be a total of £85 million of player sales that, if used correctly to fit Lampard's system, would bring Everton lots of success over the years. Before I get into the positions that need to be filled, I wanted to say that Everton must fix their transfer strategy now. They need to stop buying players that will have little to no resale value and instead go for more of a Dortmund approach. Build a young and youthful team that can be sold for profit to continue to build the club from the bottom to the top. So they must buy players on the younger side, with no players above the age of 26, and help develop these players into top Premier League starters. And help develop these players into top Premier League talents. For the positions they need for Lampard's system, they need a quality second ball-playing defender, depth at left back to compete with Mykolenko, solid defensive midfielder with good ball-winning abilities, a complementary number 8 next to Doucouré who is better attacking-wise, some solid depth in the midfield positions, and one more forward for depth on the front line. So in total, they need to bring in around 5 to 6 players this summer that will help them become a top-half team once again. The perfect choice for a second ball-playing defender would be Nico Schlotterbeck. He is a 22-year-old German center back playing with Freiburg in the Bundesliga. He is amazing on the ball, proven by his 4.01 progressive passes and 4.54 progressive carries per 90. He is also a very solid defender, proven by his 5.1 tackles plus interceptions per 90, winning 58.7% of his ground duels. He also has lots of versatility, as he is able to play left back and even move into the midfield if needed. Therefore, due to his versatility, Everton would not have to get depth at left back, as he and Ben Godfrey could both play left back if Mykolenko needs to miss time. With his contract running out in 2023, Freiburg could really be ready to sell him this summer, as they want to get profit for him. He would be a very solid addition that I see costing around £25 million to bring him to Everton this summer, that could become even better over time. The perfect choice for a defensive midfielder for Everton would be Samuel Ricci. He's a 20-year-old defensive midfielder from Empoli in the Serie A. He may be young, but he is already showing immense talent in Empoli's midfield, as he is an amazing ball-winning midfielder. He has shown this with his 2.82 interceptions, winning half of his ground duels, and only being dribbled past 0.82 times per 90. He is also not bad at progressing the ball up the field with his 4.24 progressive carries and 4.65 progressive passes per 90. He would be an incredible signing that could become an excellent piece to a Lampard midfield that protects his team from counterattacks and helps move the ball up the pitch. He would probably cost around £25 million to bring him into England, and he would be an excellent addition. The perfect choice for a central midfielder with good attacking attributes is Dele Alli. He is a 25-year-old English midfielder and winger playing with Spurs. Maybe more of a number 10 over a number 8, but he has some experience playing in the 8 in the past, and in a Lampard system would be a solid fit there, as he could play similar to Mount or Havertz, who played in the center midfield positions under Lampard. The season he played solid minutes in the 8 position was the 2018-2019 season, where he would put up solid attacking numbers with his 3.06 shot creating actions, 1.53 dribbles completed, and 9.86 progressive passes received per 90. He would be a player that can utilize his strength, excellent hold-up play, and shot creating abilities amazingly, and could be that Mount player that Lampard wants in his midfield. With limited playtime under Conte, I see a move being in the works for him as soon as possible, and Everton would be a perfect place for him to revitalize his career. I see him costing around £20 million for Everton to bring him in. The perfect choice for a midfielder for depth would be John Swift. He is a 26-year-old center midfielder from Reading in the Championship. He is an excellent attacking midfielder, showing solid ability in the Championship this season. Right now, he has 8 goals and 11 assists in his 26 appearances, alongside 2.7 key passes per match and 1.7 dribbles completed per match. He would be a solid player that could be squad depth for a few seasons in Everton and could become a very solid impact sub for them. With his contract running out in the summer, Everton could sign him for free this summer, and that would be great value for a depth piece in midfield. Perfect choice for a forward depth piece for Everton is to utilize Anwar Ghazi's buy option this summer. Everton, when they brought him in on loan from Aston Villa, included an £8.25 million buy option, and he is a perfect forward depth option. He has shown at times to be a solid forward, scoring 10 goals last season, which was a solid 0.56 goals per 90. He would be a solid option that should definitely become a permanent addition that would also be a cheap addition. Bringing in 5 players being Nico Schlotterbeck, Samuel Ricci, Dele Alli, John Swift, and Ghazi for a total of £78.25 million would not only have Everton become profitable on sales, but also massively increase their potential and quality throughout the squad that desperately needs that. For a final first team squad, it would go as follows. For the keepers, I would have Pickford and Begovic, Vitaly Mykolenko as the lone pure left back with Godfrey and Schlotterbeck as backups, Ben Godfrey, Nico Schlotterbeck, Mason Holgate, and Jared Braithwaite as center backs, Seamus Coleman and Nathan Patterson as right backs, Samuel Ricci, Decore, Tom Davies, John Swift, and Dele Alli as midfielders, Damari Gray, Anthony Gordon, Richarlison, and Ghazi as wingers, and Calvert-Lewin and Rondon as strikers. The starting lineup utilizing Lampard's tactics in the 4-3-3 would go as follows. Pickford in goal, Mykolenko as left back, Schlotterbeck and Godfrey as center backs, Coleman as right back, Ricci as defensive midfielder, Decore and Alli as central midfielders, Gray and Richarlison on the wings, and Calvert-Lewin in the 9. I think this team and overall squad would put Everton at the least in the right direction. They need to rely more on younger players that can develop and play in a system where they're allowed to develop. This could help transform Everton back to the team they want to be.